Okay, first of all, I would like to welcome you to today's masterclass, how to plan and develop a simulated company as effective learning, which will be presented by Sara Bitti, head of the Foreign Language Department, and Alba Academia, Alberghiera coordinator, if I'm saying it correctly, from Apro Formazione. It's a pleasure to have Sara here to present, from what I can see from the description, from what I saw from the description, a very interesting masterclass. Sara, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Welcome, everybody. I hope this masterclass will be interesting for you. So I would say let's start from some bits of history. So I try to be not too much boring for you, but it's useful for us to understand what we are talking about exactly. So we can start from the so-called schoolwork alternance that evolved into the pathways for transversal skills and orientation. So this is a very innovative didactic methodology that affirms the importance of combining knowledge with know-how and intensifies the school's relation with the territory and the production world and the services. For those of us who work already in vocational education training, obviously all this could sound a bit redundant and a bit obvious, because for us, concepts like learning by doing or work-based learning philosophy or role-playing, reproducing a simulated environment is something that we do every day, plus the network we create with our local businesses. If I think about the macro planning of our training courses, particularly those related to the culinary arts sector, the term alternance comes up with two versions. The first one is this stimulated alternance, and the second one is the enhanced alternance. The first expression refers to the first year courses, whereas the second one refers to the second and third years with quite different amounts of hours. In the current school year, the first year courses have an annual amount of 150 hours of simulated alternance, while the second and third year courses have an annual amount of 300 hours of enhanced alternance. This latter one has been further split as follows. So for the second year classes, we have planned 60 hours of alternance with lab and the workshop activities, and 240 hours of internship and traineeships in local companies. For the third year classes, the total amount of hours has been left unchanged. So we have 3 hours altogether spent as internship in local companies. So what I mean is that the fundamental difference between the concept of simulated and enhanced alternance is what we are talking about today, is the focus of this masterclass. So the simulated alternance, we are talking about the first year classes, okay, is carried out completely as in-house project. There are no external in-company traineeship. Everything is done in-house. And its core is the creation of simulated company within the school. This is the reason why Osteria dell'Accademia was born. So Osteria in Italian is something like a small restaurant, very local, bound to the territory. So this project was born and designed and managed from the very beginning by the first year students with a very participatory approach. Students are the protagonists of learning, and the role of the teacher is that of a coach and, would say, a facilitator. The concept of the classroom shifts from a very traditional to a more innovative perspective in which the group is conceived as a working team, and the tasks and responsibility are defined and obviously shared. The task of the teacher is to plan and coordinate activities, motivate, support, monitor and check the work and obviously learning outcomes, timetables and deadlines.
Sarah, sorry to interrupt you. Are you changing your slides or are we still seeing the first one?
I've just changed it. Can you see it now?
I can see the first one with the title.
Okay, no, I've changed. So I try to maybe share again because I changed it. So I can try again.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you too, Sarah, but I don't see any slides. I don't know what is going on, but
I'm also.
I can see them.
Now I can see them.
Now we can see them, I think.
So wait, let's see if it works now. Okay.
Now I'm seeing the roadmap
again. So this was the first one. Let me know if you can see that now.
Yes,
yes.
I can see them. Yes.
Okay. This is wait because it's something. So this is the second one. Can you see the change?
Number 2, yes, from the schoolwork.
Okay, and now this is the third one I was talking about.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm sorry because this is my computer that is skipping. And can you see the roadmap now?
Yes.
Yes, we do. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I was here saying that the focus of this masterclass is the difference between these two concepts of simulated alternance and enhanced alternance. The roadmap, and I hope to see it again, are these 3 very fundamental steps we have to take to have this method working. So the first step is assembling a project team. The second one is students beginning to conceive the catering business project through an initial phase. And then the third steps are identifying all the targets and the concrete targets that have to be achieved. Okay, so let's go a bit more in depth. Can you see now the first step is assembling the project team?
Yes.
So what do we mean? Assembling the project team means that it is very necessary to identify 3 figures. The first one is the project manager. The project manager has different functions like macro programming, like coordination and didactic supervision, networking with and tutoring of godmother companies, and I will return to this a bit more later. So it's a very, very core role, okay? Then we have some course managers, like people with functions of tutoring, but of specific training courses, like culinary arts and restaurant dining service, like management of organizational and procedural aspects, like relationships with the students. So they are very specified targets. And then we have chefs and MET, for example, with function of technical teaching. So like the preparation of specific didactic material, or like contact with suppliers, like preparation of menu, the purchase of the raw material. The second step, so we have some more points to focus on. So we have project manager and course managers guiding the student through all these other steps. First of all, in analysis, this is a very analysis-focused phase. So analysis of the characteristics of the different catering companies on the territory, in the area. We have an identification of all the services that have to be provided, of spaces like opening hours, calendar, and of course, the name of the company we are creating. We have to create a simple, very, very simple, obviously, business plan, and then planning some simple marketing or communication strategies for the catering activity that we want to create. And we move to the third step. Third step is identifying the targets that have to be achieved. So this means planning. This is planning restaurant services, like, for example, services according to the days the restaurant is open. So menu planning, how many guests we are able to accommodate, staff capacity management, shifts in the dining room, in the kitchen, according to the number of guests we have, labs we can use. So it's really concrete planning of the structure and the labs. Then we have to purchase all the products we need with suppliers. Suppliers can be known, or we have to identify them so they can be brand new with a focus, obviously, on sustainability. So a promotion of the restaurant, like to potential customers, we have to identify which customer we want to refer to. That could be, for example, free for employees or a cost to be borne for outsiders. We have to decide it with the students. And the reservation system, this is another very interesting point, like restaurant reservation that has an online system, a cloud-based cross-platform system, or that could be managed by the students, but also by the IT manager, and then the eventual payment also of this service. So the customers, they have to be welcome, they have to be managed. Critical issues, customer service, we have to monitor the service delivery. So optimizing the customer satisfaction as much as possible. For example, we have created paper evaluation form with a QR code for customers. And we ask the customers to fill it in, and then we brief teachers and students together with the kitchen staff to analyze the results. So while the project team can be set, I mean, at the very beginning of the school year, so I can share this idea of calendar. We have this project team at the very beginning of the school year. That means for us, mid of September could be at the beginning of October. Once the class has reached its own balance, I mean, as a social group, because we have to remember we are speaking about a first year class phase, so the students are really young. We have done this analysis and target setting phase that could be worked out around November, I would say. And then we are working toward the opening of the Osteria, and we are at the start of the second semester. So we are talking about February or the beginning of March, okay? The total amount of hours foreseen for the simulated company includes lessons of restaurant service, mostly, I would say, restaurant service and bartending, cooking practice. But we have quite a good amount of hours that consist of theoretical subjects. These subjects can cover, in part, the planning step, but they also refer to technical subjects, like, for example, technical English, like food science, and they are extremely interesting because technical English, for example, is useful for translation and presentation to guests of the menus in English. Food service, for example, is useful for the study of the raw material. So it's really fundamental for the students that are approaching this kind of counseling activities to be really concrete and bound to the territory. We also had a focus on these godmother companies. Which are the godmother companies for us? The simulated company activities take place in-house. They involve local companies, but all activities take place here in the school. But the relationship with the godmother companies is so present, so important, also starting from the analysis phase, because it goes through the choice of these companies according to how much familiar they are with the school activities, and how much are they willing to be consulted periodically. So they have this particular functions. So they support us, teachers and students, in the planning phase and in identifying the necessary key skills with particular reference to the competence of entrepreneurship. They support in the management of the company. So they explain to our students how a real company works, principles of management, for example, through concrete tasks. And speaking easy, because again, the students are really young. So this is the first time for them to meet this kind of reality. And they support in the midterm and the final evaluation of the course. So all the monitoring activities are aimed at following the development of the simulated company, verifying the level of achievement of the following goals. So we have some progress of the activities and obviously a compliance with the deadlines, results in terms of performance, learning, motivation, behavior. We have to check if this methodology is effective and above all, if it's replicable. And the monitoring system includes some important tools and specific strategies that we can use, like observation grids, very simple, individual interviews with the students and review of experience in the class, but as work made in group with students, and customer satisfaction questionnaire with the analysis of the results. And I want to show you, let me know if you can see this slide. We have an example of one of the grid we use. So we sometimes use it as QR code, sometimes a page support, it depends. But as you can see, this form we have obviously the name of the restaurant, the company, and then we have the first part is dedicated to the evaluation that the customer would like to give to our service. So how easy it was to reserve. Oh, wait, yeah, there's one new coming. Welcome. So how easy it was to reserve our place at the Osteria. How was the service? And how was the service at the table? Also, how were the kitchens? So was everything good? What I had for lunch? And the cafeteria service, was it good for everyone? And then we have some open questions. So like, which dish was your favorite one? Or like, please indicate a positive aspect of your experience. Or like, there is something that you would like to improve, or was everything okay for you and why above all? And then something more open, so like, give me a comment or give me a piece of advice that is okay. And then a final evaluation with the emoticons. This is very, very easy, but it's so helpful for our students to understand if everything was okay. I can say that guests always give some piece of advice and are really precise. They don't care if the students are really young. They are serious when they give feedbacks. And this is extremely important for us and also for the students. At the beginning, the students are a bit, nervous or a bit upset because some feedbacks, again, are really concrete, really straight. But then they realize that it's for them. I mean, it's something that we need to improve ourselves, to improve the service. So they are more than welcome always. So what we can say again is that, I'm meeting people, so sorry. What we can say is that
Sara, don't worry, I can do this for you, okay?
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Valentina. Thank you. So the simulated company is Again, a teaching method combining this role-playing, learning by doing, problem-solving, simulating this workplace, and allowing students to learn skills, but from a very operational point of view. This was what I studied in my incipit and in my visa, and if I have to be really honest, after the experience of the Osteria dell'Accademia, what I can say is that this is our second year organizing. I can confirm that it's a very successful method. The students show greater sense of responsibility, despite the fact they are very young. They are more involved in activities. The class group is more interactive and works more as a close-knit team, finally. Roles are well-defined. It must be well-defined since the beginning. And the skills, the individual and group skills, are absolutely more evident. So I've said more and more times that students are very young. So one question could be why you decided to apply this method to the first year. It's because the first year students have some particular characteristics also as an organization from the school point of view. So the young age of the students is not allowing us to send them to companies. So they are not allowed to spend their curricular internship in the companies, according to the Italian law. They are too young. You have to consider that some of them is 14, 15, so they can't. But also, I would say, the perspective. We have a 3-year study path. And if we have to consider the entire perspective of this course of study, the company, so the simulated company, is the right choice for the first year. And then there is an evolution of the concept of company that is realized in sort of crescendo, because as you can see, we have a simulated company in the first year, and then this first internship in the second year, where the focus is on the role of the school, company tutors supporting students. So this is more a didactic internship than a real internship from an operational education point of view. And then we have the final phase of this 3-year course, that's a last year internship. So the focus now is really on the skills of the students. They are real workers in companies on the territory. So thanks to the study path and the previous experiences, they are placed in the companies, and they can see the future potential of job placement. Okay, and this is I would say, the main reason why we decided to organize the simulated company in the first year. What is needed to make this method work? So you can believe me, just because I say that it works, but if I can share some pieces of advice, I would say we absolutely need collaboration and supervision in company experts. This means government companies, but also experts from the territory, speaking with us, speaking with teachers, speaking with students, sharing ideas and experiences. So this collaboration must be really tight, first of all. And then when we, above all in the first and second phases of the organization, we speak about timetable, calendar, and planning. We have to be very realistic, really functional. So we have to create a very functional timetable. And target definition, target audience must be clear. So we have to understand who we are speaking to. And then involving and motivating teachers, that means we have to involve teachers and project team from the very, very beginning, emphasizing the effectiveness of the project. The more the teachers are involved, the more we can have a successful project at the end of the year. Obviously, there are more pros, I would say. So I just shared some of them. Like everyone is involved means the simulated company teaching method is like set the whole school machine in motion. Students, teachers, logistics, purchasing department, technical contact persons, everyone is involved. For this reason, it is an excellent test bench, I would say. So we can understand if really everything works for the students who begin to realize what kind of commitment and responsibility counseling entails. For the rest of the school, which is activated and it's accompanied by operating as a real restaurant. So everything has to be connected and working together. And moreover, the simulated company can be successfully if applied also to other sectors. I mean, I'm speaking about culinary arts because this is the sector we are working in. But for example, if you have a course of studies, including personal service provided, like hairstyling, beautician, baking and pastry, this is a method that you can easily use, easily apply. Engage students means students are involved in a more creative, innovative, dynamic way. They participate in dynamic activities, group and project work, simulation, role-playing exercises. So this allows them to experience firsthand and in a more personal way. So they become more interested and more, I would say, proactive. The students learn how to interact in an efficient way with the work team and the management staff, and acquire those skills that are considered fundamental for the work context. So more practice-based lesson. That means also that we have to use and to put in place a diversification of the learning methodologies. So learning methodologies encouraging and developing students' open minds. The aim of developing a business idea at the very early stage of the project can be achieved through more interactive lessons conducted with the use, for example, like of visual aids such as slides, videos, and also, as I said before, expert testimony, for example, from the campus. Teachers can use like digital, innovative tools, engaging students more and stimulating their interest. And then go international, what I mean, the translation, presentation of the menus in English or any other useful language enhance the role and the involvement of other teachers, like foreign language teachers, who sometimes tend to come second after their technical colleagues. This is another reason why I think that involving many teachers in the project from the very beginning of the analysis phase is useful because no one comes second. So technical teachers are important as much as the transversal skills and transversal subjects teachers are. We are optimists, obviously, but we also know that there are cons. Planning, yes. Frustration, no. What I mean, if your timetable is very rigid, it can be difficult to arrange hours and teach teachers in a useful way. The different steps have to be carried out consequently. So if you don't have the time to organize activities, the time to monitor the students, then it's difficult. And the teachers must feel free to work and no frustration is needed. They must be committed, involved in a concrete proactive intervention, But this means that the earlier the project starts in the school year, the less the performance anxiety and pressure will be a burden on teachers. And the more the planning phase becomes an interactive and interesting activity, and the less frustrated and concerned teachers will be. So this is something that we have to keep in mind from the very beginning of the planning of this project. So I hope I've not bothered any of you. So I would say this is the very core of the project. So can you see the slides? So have you seen all of them so far?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have other slides set. I mean, I'm more than open to questions. So if you have more technical questions, or if you are interested in something more specific, let me know.
I would like to ask, as a teacher, did you see differences in your students from before they began this project and after they had finished it?
Yes, I did. I mean, at the very beginning, we were all confused. Also because this is the second year I've been using this method. And so last year, we were confused and a bit worried because we had to organize everything, and the students watched us as waiting for inputs. So they for sure become more interactive. They are interested in seeing how a real company works. So since they can't go in companies on territory, they look at us waiting for experts, for pieces of advice. And once they know that they can do it and they are motivated, they are more responsible. At the end of the project, they know how it works, even if they are in the school. So they continue to work with the classmates, with the same teachers they have in the regular lessons, but they are more interested. And in the second year, because the second year we did have last year the simulated company methodology, did use it, they have been in internship in the companies, and in some way they knew how it goes. So they have been more in the internship. They were interested and interactive and proactive. So yes, absolutely yes.
Okay, that's good. Anyone else with any questions?
Obviously, I talked about culinary arts, but again, and I spoke about chef and maître, but again, if you have schools, other situation, other fields, the focus is service for people. So if you think about hairstyling, for example, that is another good idea. So you can open your salon and have a business plan and some marketing strategies, some communication strategies, and you can share with the rest of the class, and they can organize it in the best possible way. Obviously, the economic point of view is the most difficult one. So they have to understand how it works. But we have experts that can support. So as we can involve as many teachers as possible according to their hours planning, obviously.
Okay, Sergio, you've put your hand up. Would you like to ask something?
Yes.
Hi, Sergio.
Nice to see you again.
Me too.
I have a couple of very two operational questions.
Yeah.
First, is there any budget involved from the school? In other words, do students have access to actual money to spend, or if it is only virtual? First question. And then, how do you balance the evaluation of the learning outcomes if you evaluate those learning outcomes only internally, or if you evaluate it also externally. In other words, if the mentors or the company tutors, let's call it, that you ask to mentor them, are they supposed to also evaluate them? And if you issue them a mark depending on those external evaluations.
Okay. Thank you, Sara. So money. So they manage money for what concerns payment, for example, payment of the lunch. So if we have external hosts, external guests, sorry, they have to pay. So the students, obviously not on their own, they have a teacher with them. They have to calculate how much they have to pay, and then they receive money. But we don't invest a particular budget because these activities are curricular, so we don't need any further money for that. So the purchasing of material is included in the expenses the school has. Okay, so there is no extra budget for that, but we can do that in any case. We have no problems with the budget from that point of view, because again, these are curricular activities. I would say that besides the fact of receiving payments, the business plan they do is obviously really virtual. So we try to show the students, for example, the costs or the raw material. We tell them that they have to be sustainable. So the calculation, the quotation they do are real, because the costs we give to them are real. But then the payment, the money they manage, obviously, is the payments of that day. I don't know if I have answered to your question. Okay. And for what concerns evaluation, so that's a good question. So first of all, in order to avoid frustration and pressure and worrying, too much worrying, so we evaluate what the students do first internally. We speak with students, we speak with teachers, with mentor, with the chef according to the course, and we try to understand, together with the feedback the clients have given us, how it was. From an operational point of view, but also for what concerns behavior, motivation, presence at the lessons, everything. We try to consider everything. And this happens with an initial but midterm evaluation and the final one at the end of the school year. In the second part, so if we think about the timeline, we are around, I would say, we start trying to find, the slide again. So we are in, let's say, February opening. So we have another midterm evaluation toward the end of the school year. We call the godmother companies and we ask them to come physically to try with us sometimes the lunch with the students and try to see how they work. So the godmother companies have seen how the planning was at the beginning, and then they can evaluate how the students serve and cooks and follow the payments and all these practical things. At the end of the school year, we meet with the godmother companies and ask them for written, clear feedback, serious feedback, I mean. So we have it, and we tell the students, this happens just before the end of the school year, and then we tell the students what the godmother companies suggest, what is their feedback and why. This obviously has consequences on the evaluation. I mean, the real school evaluation, above all for the technical subjects, but also, for example, for English. Because if we have worked with them and translated all the menus and they had to present the menus to the guests, at the end of the year, the English teacher can use that experience to evaluate the students too. Because it's not only what they do in the classroom, it's also what they do in the restaurant. If they have studied, if they have translated everything, if they are more open to explain to the customers what they are eating and why, and explain the recipes. So yeah, we use inner and external evaluations, and this has a weight on the final evaluation for them.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
So the students, they know from the beginning, like it's before they start, like it's type of compulsory. It's part of their curriculum.
Yeah,
and they have to pass it.
We try to, and again, maybe this slide could be useful. We try to explain to them that this is not 1 year plus 1 year plus another year. This is a 3-year path. This is a 3-year study path. So the stimulated company is something compulsory for legal reasons, but also because it's something curricular they have to do. In the perspective of the 3-year road. So yes, we at the beginning it's complicated because they are so young. So when you tell them that they are going to work in a real company, but in school, that they sometimes don't realize what we mean. But then it's clearer. It's more clear when we organize when we have the different steps. So with the project manager and all the other force manager speaking with them, they realize it's difficult at the beginning, but then they realize that they have to do it, obviously, and they have to do it seriously, not only for the evaluation, I mean, also because it's an important step before the 2nd year, because you have to consider that when they go on internship, they are always very young. We are speaking about 15, 16 years old. They go to the companies, and even if we stress the fact that they are indidactic, so they have to be supported and monitored, and from an education point of view, they work on the territory with the tourists. So I think they come to that point more prepared because they have been prepared in the 1st year here with us. So they are ready from an operational point of view. What they face in the 2nd year is real people, tourists, many foreigners come to them, but they know how it works because they did it the year before.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
If I can add, sorry to be very boring, if I can add something here is again the giant important role of the teachers. I mean, involving teachers is something that helps a lot. Students first, I mean, because at a certain point of the year, they understand that we are all working for the same thing, that we are all aiming at the same target, and we can achieve important goals. So it's not something that is compulsory because the teachers tell you that you have to do that. It's something that we are doing together. So if they perceive this aspect, and then if they can think about their teachers as professionals in the same field, it's easier for them to collaborate. So the involvement of the teachers is fundamental. Obviously, according to the task they already have and the calendar they already have, the timetable. So it's something that must be realized, obviously, with the habit school, but it's absolutely fundamental.